Hello students, we are going to study the topic separation of components of a mixture. The techniques which we will be using to separate the different components present in the mixture. Okay, so on what does this separation of components depend? It depends upon the physical properties of the different components which are present in the mixture. So what are these physical properties? Mainly this is what? The melting point, boiling point, solubility, and there can be others also. Okay. Now, separation of what? A heterogeneous mixture. Two types of mixture are there, isn't it? Heterogeneous and homogeneous. Okay. Heterogeneous mixture. Okay. To separate them is easy rather than a homogeneous mixture. Why? Because a heterogeneous mixture, the boundary of separation is clear of the components present in the mixture, isn't it? And but in case of homogeneous mixture, the boundary of separation is not clear. There is no boundary of separation, isn't it? We can't make out the substances or the components present in the mixture by just seeing it, isn't it? So first we are moving to with the heterogeneous mixture. Okay, how can a heterogeneous mixture components can be separated? Okay, first process we can use is the winnowing. Okay, very common example, the husk present with the rice grains. Okay, this husk can be removed and we can get the rice grains by the process of winnowing. Okay, now hand picking, just picking out the substances present, isn't it? By picking up the substances present in what? Like example we can take of picking is stones present in the sand. We can remove the stones from the sand, isn't it? Now sedimentation. Sedimentation in this what happens? In this, if we are taking the example of water and mud, the mud, what happens? The mud settle down, isn't it? And the water comes above, and if we remove this water, that is known as decantation. Next is filtration. Filtration, this also very easy. You take this sedimentation example only, the mud and water, just pour this solution, okay, of what? The mud and water in what? The filter paper. You'll see, you'll get the mud in the filter paper, that is known as residue, and the water, you get it as filtrate. Now homogeneous mixture. Okay, homogeneous mixture, how can it be separated? Special techniques are used to separate the homogeneous mixtures. Okay, so the techniques which we will be studying are evaporation, centrifugation, separating funnel, sublimation, chromatography, distillation, and fractional distillation. One by one we are going to study all these separation techniques of a homogeneous mixture. So now we will be moving with the first separation method, that is evaporation. Here we have taken a beaker, a tappet stand, Bunsen burner, okay, and what is kept inside it in the beaker? Water, and above we have taken a plate in which we have added what? The ink. What we are doing over here? We are separating the ink from what? The dyes of the ink from water. Okay, ink consists of what? The dyes and the water. Okay, so now here in this, when we will be heating this water, okay, what will happen? The water will evaporate and it will provide heat to the ink, and here it will also get heated and the liquid portion of the ink will be evaporated and the solid portion of the ink will be left on the plate. Okay, so why we are using this water contained in the beaker for heating? We could have taken it directly, but if we would have taken it directly, what would have happened? The whole of the ink, instead of separating, the whole of the ink will be what? Will be saying that yes, if the heat is direct, what will happen? The heating will not be even and the separation of the component of ink will be not proper. Okay, now in this Next is what? Centrifugation. Okay, centrifugation, here in this process, what we do basically, you can see the example of the separation of cream from milk, that is separated from the process of centrifugation. In this you can see this is a machine in which what happens, at the center it is rotated very fastly, okay, and as a result when it rotates fastly, the fat particles which are light, it starts accumulating in the sides of this machine, okay, and it will be also on the surface. But what happens after some time, this ore becomes in a cluster form and it becomes heavy and it settles down, and we get the clear liquid which has been separated from the cream or the clear milk, which is totally in the liquid form, from which the cream has been separated, okay, and this can be separated out from here and the cream can be taken it from the bottom, okay. So where this method is used, it is used in what? In the diagnostic labs for the blood and urine test. We can also use in the separation of the cream from the milk, okay. So next process is by using a separating funnel. What type of things are separated by using separating funnel? That two immiscible liquids can be separated with the help of a separating funnel, okay. In this you can see this is a separating funnel, okay. Here we are seeing the different densities of the immiscible liquid. Whose density is less will be in the upper layer of the separating funnel, and whose density is more will be in the lower layer. The density of kerosene oil is less than water. So we can see over here in the figure, the kerosene oil is in the upper layer and the water at the lower layer, or the bottom layer we can say, okay. So now once they have been separated, we have to first we have to let it settle down, okay. After settling only it will be separated in these two layers, okay. The less denser above, more denser below, okay. Once it is settled, what happened, we will be opening this stopcock and we will be opening this stopcock and we will be getting what? First we will be getting water, and then we will be, once we have taken out the water, close the stopcock and then again open it and take the kerosene in the other beaker, okay. Now the next method is what? Sublimation. What type of substances are separated in sublimation, okay. In this, the substance which can sublime, it means what? It can change in from the solid to the gaseous state directly, okay. So for this method we use what? In this we will be using what? Ammonium chloride mixture, NH4Cl, and you can take the mixture of water. You can take salt and ammonium chloride mixture, any salt you can take. Ammonium chloride can sublime very fast. So what happened, we are taking salt, suppose it can be NaCl, okay. Now you heat it, we are heating it, okay. We have kept it in the tripod stand, okay. Here also we will be keeping what? Wire gauge over here, okay. Wire gauge is required for the even heating, okay. And then what happens, the mixture of ammonium chloride and salt, okay, as we start heating, ammonium chloride starts what? Evaporating, okay, and it starts, well, say not evaporating, it starts subliming, and it gets it goes up, and when we remove the flame, what happens, this ammonium chloride gets settled down on the walls of this funnel, and NaCl, which does not sublime, remains in the what? This china dish itself. And this is how we can separate by the process of sublimation, okay. Next is chromatography. In chromatography, different dyes can be separated, okay. And in this, what happens, we have to see, or the principle which has been followed in this chromatography process is the component which is more soluble in the solvent which we have taken moves more faster. Okay, here you can see I have taken a chromatography paper. Okay, it has been marked with the pencil, and here we have added a drop of ink which is blue or black in color. The components of, we are separating here the components of ink, okay, or the different dyes present in the ink. Okay, now next we are taking what, a glass jar. Okay, and we are attaching this chromatography paper to this glass jar, and we are adding solvent over here at the bottom. Okay, and then what do we see? This solvent, as it rises up, what happens, the components of ink which can, the component which can be more soluble or in this solvent moves faster. Okay, and next it is followed by the other component. Okay, and next by the other component which is the least soluble in this solvent, will move very slowly. Okay, so here in this chromatography paper, after this whole process has taken over, okay, we take it out and we see the different dyes present in the ink got separated on the different levels of the chromatography paper. I have said to you about chromatography paper. There are other all different methods also of the chromatography, which is we'll be studying in higher classes. Okay, again I am saying evaporation. Evaporation, in this the solid components are separated from the liquid present in it. Best is example is of ink. Okay, ink, different dyes are present in what? The solvent is water, water evaporates and we get the only the components of dye. Centrifugation, in this the density of the substance present in the homogeneous mixture is seen. It is done by rotating, and if it rotates, it goes on rotating, what happens? The lighter particles, or like the cream in the milk, it starts coming up, and at the sides, and at last what it does, it accommodates and it gets accumulated at the bottom, and the clear milk you get it. Okay, here density medium is seen, in which we are seeing less density, we are using a separating funnel, and less density and more density substances of immiscible liquid are separated. Sublimation, the substance which can sublime is taken and the substance which cannot sublime is taken, and if that type of mixture is there, which is consisting of the substance which can sublime and a substance which can't sublime, it can be separated by the process of sublimation. Okay, chromatography, different dyes can be separated by the process of chromatography. Now we are going to study separation of mixture of two miscible liquids. Okay, these are miscible liquids. It means the boundary of separation is not there. We can't make it out by seeing it, the different components present in that mixture. Okay, so here how can we separate these two miscible liquids? We can separate it with the help of what? Two methods are there: simple distillation and fractional distillation. Okay, simple distillation, here the difference in the boiling point of these two miscible liquids should have a how much difference? 30 to 50 Kelvin. For that I have taken an example of acetone and water. The boiling point of acetone is 329 Kelvin and water is 373 Kelvin. So difference over here is of 44 Kelvin. Okay, so here in this we are going to separate this acetone from water, or both the components we are getting by separating it with the help of simple distillation. Okay, for the experiment we need a tripod stand. Okay, again we will be needing a wire gauge also. Okay, because even heating is required in all the experiments. Okay, direct heating will not give the better result. Okay, we are heating, okay, this mixture of acetone and water which is present in the distillating flask. Here you can see a thermometer, and this is leaving condenser, or you can say condenser. Okay, you can see over here two outlets are there in the condenser. Why two outlets are there in the condenser? Because from one outlet, from one opening, what happens here, enters the cold water, which helps this evaporated component which is coming over here in the gaseous form to change it into liquid form. Okay, and once it is doing that, this cold water becomes hot, so this water goes out, and again we have to send cold water inside the condenser. Okay, now coming to the experiment. Okay, we had taken the mixture of acetone and water in the distillating flask. Okay, what happened? We started heating. Here acetone is having what? Boiling point of only 329 Kelvin. It is less than water. So what happened? It starts evaporating. Okay, and it comes through the leaving condenser, where this acetone, which is in the gaseous form, is changed into liquid form, and it is collected in the receiver, okay, or in a container. Then comes acetone, whose boiling point, acetone I am saying, sorry, water 373 Kelvin. After acetone we have collected, what happens? Here water moves up, forming in the gaseous form water vapors through the leaving condenser, and where it is what? Liquefied, and we get it in the receiver. Here the difference should be of at least 30 to 50 Kelvin I said, and here of acetone and water it is 44 Kelvin. Okay, so but what about those mixtures of liquid, okay, whose boiling point is less than 25 Kelvin? We can't separate it with the help of distillating flask, because it is not possible. Both of them will be evaporating so fast that separation will become difficult with the help of simple distillation. So we use which process? Fractional distillation. In this fractional distillation, all the apparatus is same, okay, but the difference is of what? The fractionating column. This fractionating column is made of here in this column what is present? Glass beads are present. Okay, what is the function of this glass beads? It increases the surface area. Okay, it increases the surface area over here, and as the result we will be seeing it maintains, or it helps in what? Separating these two miscible liquids which have less boiling point. Okay, so here we have taken chloroform and benzene. You can see the boiling point of chloroform is 334 Kelvin and benzene is 353 Kelvin. So difference in the boiling point of chloroform and benzene is of 19 Kelvin. And here we are separating the components, or the liquids, miscible liquids, isn't it? And here the difference in the boiling point is less than 25 Kelvin. So here we got how much? 19 Kelvin. So it can't be separated by simple distillation. It can be separated by fractional distillation. So we have taken what? This chloroform and benzene in this distillating flask. What happens when we provide heat to it? So the chloroform, which has got less boiling point, what happens? It starts boiling first, okay, changes into what? The gaseous form, okay, moves up, comes to the fractionating column, okay, and as soon as this chloroform comes here, benzene also starts boiling because the difference in the boiling point is very less. Okay, so what happens, this chloroform reaches the fractionating column, benzene is coming after that only. What happened, this, while it is reaching over here, it loses some energy, isn't it? That energy is obtained from this, what? That heat is obtained from this, what? The benzene coming over here, which is more heated. Okay, as a result, it takes it up, moves to the condenser. Okay, and here benzene, what happens? It is converted into benzene, I am saying sorry, chloroform is converted into what? The liquid form, and it is contained in the receiver, or it is obtained in the receiver. And then benzene, after that, it also comes again, it is, we are providing it, it is getting energy, it comes to this condenser, okay, cooled, changed into liquid form, and then we are getting it in the receiver or the container. So first we get what? Chloroform, and then followed by that we get benzene. Okay, so these are all the separation techniques which we have discussed today. Hope you would have understood it. Good day, take care.